In 2023, a crack commando unit of retro podcasters joined forces on a panel at LA Comic-Con, but were sent to Comic-Con jail for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped. Today, still wanted by 80s nerds, they are very easy to find. If you have an 80s nostalgia problem, if no one else can help, maybe you can hire the Night Boys.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another fun episode of 80s Kids Unite. What's up? Powered by Patreon members of Podcasting After Dark and $2 late fee. And this month we are talking about the Scholastic Book Fair made popular in the 80s. Holy cow. And I think every kid from the 80s knows what the Scholastic Book Fair is and probably has some very, very fond memories of it. But before we get into it, before we start doing a roundtable discussion of some of our favorite stuff, I'm going to introduce everybody here. We got John Toma, a.k.a. that 80s dude.
What
Diallo
up?
Jackson, a.k.a. the Armageddon. Zak Shaffer, a.k.a. the Total Snackage. And me, Corey Stevenson, a.k.a. Sleazy C. What's up, boys?
Zach,
What's up?
have you been lifting, Zach?
Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
working out.
mama. Woo!
That thing. Damn. Made in the 80s, loved by the ladies.
That's right. Getting jacked, man.
Trying. Push-ups every day. 100 push-ups every day. So
Nice, man.
Well, maybe one of these days we'll do a podcast on your workout routine. But right now, we're talking about our brains, baby, not our bodies. Before we get into it, though, I do have a little bit of a background on the Scholastic Book Fair and just like, Scholastic Corporation in general. Got some interesting information that I did not know about. So I'm going to hit you guys with it real quick, and then we'll move on to the funsies. Scholastic Inc. is an American multimedia company that publishes books, comics, and other educational materials for schools, teachers, parents, and kids. Scholastic was founded in 1920 by Maurice Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to be a publisher of youth magazines. The first publication was the Western Pennsylvania Scholastic and was distributed in 50 high schools. In 1948, Scholastic entered the book club business, and in the 1960s, it went international, with publishing locations in England, New Zealand, and Sydney. And here's where it gets really interesting. In the 70s, Scholastic created its TV entertainment division and was responsible for shows like Charles in Charge, My Secret Identity, and Voyagers with John Eric Hexum, which we covered on TV Obscura.
wow.
These were all co-produced with Universal Television. There's a bunch of other ones too, but I was shocked by the Charles in Charge one. I was like, what? Why?
I think I vaguely knew that. I remember the Voyagers. I definitely knew that one.
That tracks. That
and that
makes sense.
tracks
Yeah.
because Voyagers was.
Oh, well, there we go.
Dude.
There we go. There we go.
This is better than my imagination.
This is the official My Secret Identity Scholastic book.
Well, so hold on. I have one real quick. And here's the part that matters to our discussion. The Scholastic Book Fair began in 1981 and is still going strong today.
Wow.
So I guess my question is, like, with Charles in Charge, do they also put out like Charles in Charge books as well? Is that the connection there?
Yeah, they did.
Did it start as a book series, or was it a TV series that they adapted into books?
It probably was like a thing. I remember because like it was when it first came out, I think it was on a network maybe, and then it dipped out, and then it was in syndication after I think the first season. So maybe it was a little bit more family oriented the first season, I think.
Okay.
I don't remember anything about books. I'm a big Charles in Charge fan.
It makes sense that Voyagers was book related because you could go to the library.
course.
There was even a bumper at
They
the
said
end.
it at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Milo Palouse, whatever. He said it at the end, like go to your library, like you said. And distinctly remember the Scholastic connection for Voyagers.
That
but
makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And then-
Charles in charge, you know.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because
Yeah.
Bud and Slimbeck didn't even read books. He was too dumb. That's his whole deal.
Well, John, why don't you kick us off, buddy? What are some of your favorite Scholastic Book Fair memories? Do you have any favorite items that you picked up? Just kick us off in a general discussion here.
Yeah, man, I think the Scholastic Book Fair is definitely one of those things that every Gen Xer I know, when I mention it, they have very fond memories of that experience. And growing up, I remember most of my Scholastic Book Fair experiences happened in Detroit, Michigan. And I just remember that we didn't have very big facilities at the school I went to. And I remember that we would utilize, it was almost like going down, like following the yellow brick road to this little space that the librarians made. And you could go in and look around on the tables, and things weren't like as nice as they got a few years later, but all of the outside, like the hallway had like tables, and they would put books on there and erasers and puffy stickers and just magazines all over the place. It was like, you're walking down. It's almost like the feeling of excitement even before the Scholastic Book Fair happened. They kind of set it up, right? They said, here's a catalog. Here's like a couple pieces of like really thin pieces of paper that are like full color, and they have like these little check marks, and they have like images of the books or the items, and you were supposed to take it home and go to your parents. Hey, can we order these? And my parents always said no. And so when you actually got to the Scholastic Book Fair, you bring it along, hoping to see some of the stuff you saw in there with your $1 or $2 that you got from your parents, maybe if you earned it. And then you could see all the kids whose parents did order their books, get their books and get their like packages or whatever. And that was like just made you kind of excited. At the same time, you're just like, man, I wish that was me. But I think the fondest thing I had of the Scholastic Book Fair was the stuff leading up to it. It really did achieve its mission in making learning and reading exciting, right?
Yeah.
I think that was kind of like the intent.
Totally.
And I picked up, I tried to pick up like Calvin and Hobbes stuff. I loved like Far Side things, the 101 joke books. Those were my bag, man. And like Mad Libs. Anything on Nazi Germany, UFOs, ninjas, the Bermuda Triangle, monsters, Nessie, Loch Ness, Bigfoot. If it had Bigfoot on it, I was going to try to buy it or steal it. I don't know. And I just remember like weird, wacky, unexpected moments, and like it was sports stuff.
Yeah.
Any Garfield. There was tons of Curious George, if I can recall. Dynamite magazines. I got a few. I couldn't pull them out of storage today. Bookmarks, man. I think I posted something about bookmarks on my Dynamite, man. That's what I'm talking about. I love that. And in fact,
my brother's, by the way, it's my brother's.
That is okay. Let me show you something
Because it's from 1981.
You guys will love this. Give me a second here. I'll pull this out.
Meet Tom Wopat. Not anymore, folks, but
back then he was a big deal.
Check this out.
Him and Chuck Norris hanging out.
Yeah, wow. Check this out, guys.
Ooh,
yeah.
Now
that's
wow.
the Knight Rider. That's the David Hasselhoff. Don't hassle the Hoff. Dynamite. This is a special one for me. Really fond of it. I had it framed. Stuff like this. I ate it up, dude. And I mean, I'll say also like the anything Karate Kid. I mean, there was a ton of Karate Kid. There were posters. The Lambo poster. You had Superman 2 posters. I remember. Supergirl. Yeah, heck yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Like movie novelization stuff. Oh, and the ultimate thing that I always wanted, but I could never afford, was the Guinness Book of World Records.
Always.
Right? It was like the thickest, biggest thing, and I always wanted it.
Totally forgot about that. Yeah.
But that's my experience, man. And then if you want me to do some show and tell, I have some stuff, but I guess I'm gonna let you guys do your thing and just let me know when you want me to do that.
Yeah,
I mean, you
of
you can hold
course.
it up while we're talking,
Yeah, if it's
probably.
applicable, yeah, feel free to
Yeah,
hold it up and obviously, jump in and chime in
sure.
on anything you got. Diallo, what are some of your memories, my man?
Yeah, I mean, in general, the same. I remember getting the little form and you had to fill out the little check marks of what you wanted. Especially when I was younger, I like pretty much like wanted for nothing, except for emotional connection. But so there was never really a limit, especially when it came to like books and reading, because I mean, I still am a nerd. So like, I think my parents really appreciated that I read a lot. You know, I'd read encyclopedias because I found them interesting. But so I would get a bunch
That's
of books. Yeah, Encyclopedia Brown. Yeah. So
so
like
cool.
I would just kind of get whatever, and I don't really recall not getting what I wanted, but it wasn't like I got everything either. But I remember like there's and I didn't think about it till just now, and I think I actually like of everything that from my youth that I might not have with me here that might be at my parents' house. I actually think I have a Snoopy book that I have here, and I wish I had thought about it before because I would have pulled it out and showed you guys. Um,
John's looking to see if he has it.
yeah, right. He's like, here
Oh,
you
but here it
go. Choose your own adventure books. There was yeah, I knew you would
Oh,
pull that one out.
Yeah, gotta have
And
that.
then there was I think I was talking to you guys the other day about how there was this book that was about like these kids that were in this stone circle and they were traveling. They like traveled through time, and I don't remember, but I remember getting it through that through the book fair, and I actually looked it up, and it was called In the Circle of Time by
oh, cool.
Margaret Jean Anderson. And it's kind of influenced me when I'm writing my fantasy novel now. There's like certain things about it that I'm like it's always stuck with me, you know.
Awesome.
So yeah, and I'd get like dynamite. I did get those I never got anything with Chuck Norris, but I did get the Guinness World Book of Records. I think I got like
Oh,
every year. I think I used to get like
Nice.
the every year I used to get that
lucky
one.
bastard.
And
You
I
don't
don't
have
know,
any?
just
You don't have any of them? You don't have
no,
any?
I am Gen X, so I'm a part of that. Like, parents just threw everything out,
Yeah,
like against my
yeah,
will.
Right.
yeah.
It's like, I'd be like, why are you throwing it? Like, and it was just a fight. It was always a fight. They're just throwing everything out. So I don't have a lot of stuff, but but I have my Commodore 64, so I can
Oh,
pull that
Love
out
it.
one
I
day.
wow.
mean, that's special.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it's I remember one time they sent me to get it was like getting the books, and they just sent me to school with a check, a blank check.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And I couldn't have been like older than 10. And I don't know how to write checks. I
Oh
don't even know
man.
what they were thinking, but I used to walk home. I used to, what were they thinking? They'd leave me home for like 6 hours on end. So whatever. So yeah, it was like it was like I read comic books, but at that time I wasn't old enough to buy them yet. But like I was able to access a lot of that entertainment reading stuff through Scholastic books. So
Love
between
it.
that and then I had like it's not a part of the subject, but I had a lot of like magazine subscriptions, like 321 Contact and like Omni magazine and some space magazines and stuff too.
Awesome.
So
I remember
yeah,
Omni. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, the famous one with the proton pack and Ghostbusters, that cover. That's what I always think of when I think of Omni.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
really? I
Okay,
don't
I don't
remember
remember.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll find it and I'll put it up on our while we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome, man.
Zach, what are your memories of the Scholastic Book Fair?
I mean, well, John brought up puffy stickers, and that triggered a whole memory in me. And on Diallo with the blank check also triggered a memory. Before I jump into that, because we are talking about books, John, and I'm going to bring this up at the end. John, that 80s dude, has his own book coming out called Nostalgia Nation, and it is fantastic, and y'all should be getting it. We'll have links in our show notes to all this, by the way, so you can order the book because it is. I'll talk about it more at the end. I just wanted to put it out there for everybody to go, ooh, tell us more at the end. So make sure you listen. And by the way, make sure you're watching this on our YouTube channel, either Podcasting After Dark or $2 late fee and hit the subscribe button, because there's a lot of visual stuff going on in this episode. So you really want to take it all in. But yeah, John, I grew up in Royal Oak, and I moved to California in '84. So for a few years, I was doing the the book fair at Longfellow Elementary, which is gone now. But same kind of deal. Like my mom would either give me money that I earned from doing chores around the house, or no money at all.
Yeah.
And you saw the kid with the big bag of books and you were so jealous.
Yeah.
But there were times, I think during that time, I was buying some of the like, quarter little toys. So there was this finger puppet, and I'll flash a picture of it on the screen, but it was a finger puppet of like an old man, and you could like smush his face. And it was like there were 6 holes or 4 holes for your 4 fingers, and you could move the face around. And it was all rubbery, and it was a creepy looking character. Actually,
Yeah.
Dustin talked about it in one of our first episodes of $2 late fee. And I'm like, oh yeah, I bought that at the book fair when I was like 8 years old or 7 years
Wow.
old. But yeah, tons of magazines I would buy. The librarian, she would come in the week before the book fair. We'd have our special trip to the library, and she would preview some of the books that were going to be
Yeah.
available at the book fair. And it
Yeah.
was so cool how like she made it seem it was such a big deal, because it was. It was 1 week a year. I think now they do it twice a year at a lot of
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Beginning and end, but it was like one time a year. It was for the whole week. So was it the greatest week of school? Yeah, probably, because it was just that one thing you look forward to. I remember checking off the boxes of things I wasn't going to get because I couldn't afford it. But one book that I did get back in the day was it's a little unfortunately timely. My librarian was talking about, she basically read the synopsis of the story, but she'd had all these more details. And she would tell the story about this boy who was being bullied in San Francisco, and he's being chased through the streets of San Francisco, and he gets on a boat that goes to Alcatraz, and then he's stuck there overnight and he has to escape. And it's called Someone is Hiding on Alcatraz Island.
Oh man.
And it's a part of the Just for Boys book, Scholastic book line. It's a
Wow.
hardcover too.
Wow.
I saved up my money to buy this book. It is really good. It is definitely not written for a 10-year-old, because there's some pretty intense stuff in it. But it's by Eve Bunting, if anyone wants to check it out.
Oh man.
It's such a cool story. Yeah, he meets a girl on the island. It's because he's like a teenager. I love this book. Yeah, just picking up like the Choose Your Own Adventures you mentioned. Ended up buying the box set of the G.I. Joe Live the Adventure,
Oh,
Choose Your Own
awesome.
Adventures,
Awesome.
where you could be different. You're not a G.I. Joe. You're a G.I. Joe, but you're a part of a team. You're like an unnamed person. And, just those are a few examples of some of the books I got. Like, yeah, Operation Star Raider. And it was just
Classic.
so cool.
Classic.
The book fair was like that. It was like Christmas came early, or Hanukkah, or whatever holiday, or if you don't celebrate a holiday, that was the holiday for you. It was the book fair. But yeah, really like checking
You're
out.
so inclusive, Zach.
That's right. Hey, that's what happens when you teach kindergarten for 15 minutes.
Well, also depending on when the book fair was happening, they had they would lay out in anticipation of the holidays. They would lay out books like 10 Tales of Christmas, so to pump you up about the holidays and stuff. So
let's get pumped.
Yeah, you get pumped. But yeah, I mean, this is a Scholastic Inc. right over here, man. This is a right off the Scholastic line of books.
Amazing.
Yeah, so no, I totally feel you, man. I used to, what I used to look forward to is also like you said, the books sometimes were not like age appropriate, but you wanted those books really bad. And one of the ones that really stood out to me was like the Mac Bolans. I'm not sure if you guys remember those books.
The
Mac
Destroyer,
Bolan.
Right?
Yeah, and so I always wanted to get those books because I love like the James Bond style covers and things like that.
You just triggered a memory, and Corey, I know you're chomping at the bit because you want to talk about your memories too.
Am I though?
Well, sort of, because it's something that I want to share as well. But there was I was so excited for this. I've been looking for this book forever. So listeners and watchers, if you know what it is and you remember the title, please let me know. But there was a book in that line, like Doc Savage, Man of Bronze, Remo Williams, The Destroyer, Mac Bolan. This was a wrestler, though, that was a former wrestler who becomes a like CIA operative, basically, or
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
And the forward was by Captain Lou Albano.
Huh.
And so he's got a picture on the front with his, rubber bands on his face. But I got that at the book fair. It got thrown in the trash too, Diallo. So I'm in the same boat as you. And John, you mentioned like the monster books or the Bigfoot books. There were those big kind of hardcover black and white cover, but the outside of it was like orange or purple. They had them in the library all the time. It was about like the Frankenstein or Dracula or something like that.
Yeah. I know. They also had these things called the scariest stories ever heard, something like that. The scariest stories, and they were like they were actually kind of freaky.
Yeah, they were.
They had like these weird pencil art illustrations. But hey, Mac Bolan, the Executioner, right?
Executioner.
Yeah,
Destroyer was Remo Williams. So thank you for correcting me.
I just want to make sure, because I know someone's going to be watching or listening. They're going to be like, "Hey, man, it was the Executioner," and I'm like, "Hey, I know, because I used to read those books." All right.
Usually they sound like, "Hey, that's not right."
We're gonna write that '80s dude right now.
I want to point out this from Chuck Norris to the Karate Kid, martial arts in the movies. So obviously, Diallo, Corey, and John, you all three know that I'm a huge Chuck Norris fan, and I love martial art movies just like you guys do too. But they spend like 2 pages on ninja movies, but they spend like 3 chapters on Karate Kid and Chuck Norris. So it's but this was a Scholastic book that I got as well. Usually they were like the paperback versions. So the fact that I got this, Someone is Hiding on Alcatraz Island, was very special because it's a hardcover.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that the all of those books. Oh, and lastly, because this ties into Corey, when I first started going to the book fairs, there was like these picture books, right? So the Transformers one, I shared this on our episode of Versus, and or Mask, where
I love those books, man.
Right, and then G.I. Joe Operation Starfight, which is a really beautifully drawn book.
That cover is amazing. Actually.
It's a really great book. And I got that at the book fair as well.
I love that guy's art. I forgot his name, but he used to do a lot of the old G.I. Joe stuff, and it was
Larry Hama. Is it Larry Hama?
It wasn't Larry.
I don't think it is.
I don't think for these ones, but we did talk about the GoBots on TV Obscura, and we talked about it on Versus, and of course we talked about this infamous picture of.
I wonder if I have that GoBot actually.
That's Scooter with Turbo, and of course Leader One.
Okay,
it's cool.
Because I've got like 5 GoBots right behind me, but it's not that one.
Okay.
But you know what, Zach? Those covers. The thing I remember the most about those is they had these ones that were like that, and they had like it would say 12 stickers.
Yes.
And they came with like the duplicate stickers. You were always like pissed because you got the same stickers inside of it.
Right. They always were.
Those stand out to me.
Yeah, for some reason on my copy of Choose Your Adventure, I put these cat stickers on there. I don't know why. And right now, Diallo is so triggered, he kind of looks like this guy. If anyone knows who the evil scientist was on GoBots, I'll send you a $2 late fee sticker. So let us know. And don't look it up. I'm going to fact check you on it. Anyways, that's my memories of the book fair. Corey, I will be your visual assistant for your discussion, your part of this.
Well, a lot of this stuff is new to me because like Dr. Venkman, uses science as a hustle or a dodge. I use the Scholastic Book Fair to just get out of class. I didn't read much as a kid. I didn't really care to read much as a kid. Wasn't really excited.
My teacher glows in the dark. John is, by the way, that 80s dude's holding a book called My Teacher Glows in the Dark.
So I just got out of class. I don't have any memory of like marking off like a checklist of what I want. And maybe it's because I knew I wasn't going to get much anyways, because we weren't, single mom living with at that time, living with either my grandparents or, living in a small apartment and everything. I wasn't getting anything. But that being said, when Zach and I were doing the Versus GoBots versus Transformers episode, he brought out a GoBots book, not the one he's shown, but a different one. And that just blew my mind. Zach, pull that up, please, because
I'm gonna start with this guy.
Oh, okay. Yes.
This is Matt, not Matt Tracker. Just Matt. He's a jerk. He's a jerk. Just go watch Battle of the Rock Lords and you'll know why. This is GoBots on Earth.
GoBots on Earth. So that
at this
is
kid's
burned into
face.
my memory. I had this. I guess I got it at the book fair. I just remember the book. I don't technically remember like where I got it or whatnot.
Diallo's tuned out, by the way. Diallo's tuned out completely.
I'm like, why are we talking about the GoBots so much?
There's
This
so
is
much
crazy.
GoBots.
This is
I'm
insane.
sorry. Should I go back in time and tell 9-year-old me not to buy
You need
that?
to go into a stone circle and travel
And
back
go
in
back in
time.
time.
Oh man.
This is little Corey. This is little Corey on
Yeah,
scooter.
I wanted that to be me riding on the back of scooter and everything. And whoa, that's a weird smile he's got.
Yeah, right. He's
So-
like, can you ride
So
me?
that's why Zach and I discussed it. I was like, you know what? I'll just show run this episode. I'll just do the backstory on it because I didn't read as a kid. Now, John, you talked about all those monster books and everything, and Zach, obviously, Choose Your Own Adventure and stuff. You know, it's funny. I remember getting all of those from the Bookmobile. Did you guys ever have a Bookmobile come
Yeah.
around?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bookmobile. I never went in it, but I was afraid of vans.
John,
Yeah.
you had okay. So I actually have more fond memories of the Bookmobile when I was living in the summers down in Roanoke.
Do you?
I would get, and maybe it's because they were free, you know, you just had to return them instead of buying
Right,
them.
it was just like a
you know what I
library.
had? You know, I got from the Bookmobile the novelization of Friday the 13th Part 3. And I was like 10 years old
Wow.
and had some pictures in the middle of it. I never read it. I just looked at the pictures.
That's so good. That's so good.
So that's
Oh.
it. That's all I got.
Is that
So
a
I
life
don't.
changer for you?
Yeah, it's the Bookmobile.
Were they
Real weird
3D? Were the
life-changers.
pictures 3D? Were the
Yes,
pictures?
they were.
That would be amazing.
No, they weren't.
Aw.
The printing was black and white. It was
need-
you know, production stills and everything. But
101 school jokes John Toma
there you
has
go.
now.
Yeah,
So
John, take us through some of your archive you have there.
Yeah.
So look, I have like
You have
5
a California
boxes.
raisin back there.
I do. My sister my sister gave me the whole set. I have them all. They're kind of
Nice.
all over around here. But
I love those little PVC California.
yeah,
raisin
me too.
figures.
Here, I'll show you this.
Oh, they were
These
so
guys.
good.
These guys over here as well. Check out this guy.
Oh,
Are they-
With the,
are they
with the
felt or
guitar
something?
and everything. It's pretty cool. But yeah, my sister gave these to me on my birthday a couple years back, and I love them. This one's even an original pin that you can put on a jacket, which is like one of those things that I really want. I'm going to try to do this year is get myself like a jean jacket that actually fits, and just start putting all of my pins on there
Patches
again
and everything.
and rock that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
this is a classic Scholastic right here. 101 school jokes. I have another one. It's like monster jokes. I'm trying. Here it is. This is actually by R.L. Stein.
Oh, well, because that I was going to say Grace was going to join us, by the way, one of the night people, and she's actually meeting R.L. Stein as we speak while we're
Awesome.
recording this. So
It's awesome. Yeah.
101 silly monster jokes.
Yeah. So this is by R.L. Stein. It's pretty cool. The illustrations are amazing, and it's got a little character down here. Right above the Scholastic logo, it looks like Wachowski from Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Totally.
See that?
Interesting.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorites. I had an offer on this because I showed it on something on one of my on my Substack once when I went live, and somebody wrote me and said, "Hey, I'll buy this from you," and I just said, "Sorry, this one's kind of staying with me, but you know, if I change my mind down the line, maybe." You
My
know?
memories are not.
John,
for
can
sale.
you read one? Can you read a joke for us?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Please.
All right. So here on the cover, just so you all see, it says "Jovial Bob Stein." Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and illustrated by B.K. Taylor, and I just love the artwork on this thing. But let me start with the first one. Okay, these jokes are a howl. What is the abominable snowman's favorite food?
I don't know. What is the abominable snowman's favorite food?
Cold cuts. No. What sound do 2 vampires make when they kiss? Ouch.
Dun-dun-dun.
I know. Anyway, so I love that kind of stuff.
Dude, that's great. I love it.
Another thing I liked was like these vague time travel books and things like that.
Yes.
You know,
Well, that looks like a sexy novel, by the way.
I know,
Wild
I know.
Traveler. Oh,
It's like
Yeah,
it
you
looks
see-
like the Canadian Mounted, you know, when he's
Yeah.
reading in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah. Here's Basil. of Baker
Oh,
Street.
didn't
It's
they
a
make an
Disney
animated movie of that?
Great Mouse
They
Detective.
did,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
yes.
Great Mouse Detective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wait,
then
hold on, wait, John, pull that one back up again. So I
yeah,
like that. I like to make Great Mouse Detective as a kid. So that's what it's based on.
yes. Yes.
Interesting. Oh,
So
Exactly.
Maybe I
Basil
should
of
have
Baker
read.
Street.
Maybe I should have read more.
Basil, famous sleuth of Mousedom, lived in the cellar of Sherlock Holmes's house. A devoted admirer of the great detective, he had learned his craft by listening at the feet of Holmes himself. Tell me you wouldn't want to buy that book. You know
It's
what I
like
mean? Like
Ninja
this is
Turtles before Ninja Turtles came out. When it was Splinter. Yeah.
yeah. So
You say Baker Street, and it makes me think of that song by Jerry Rafferty. But yeah.
and you cannot go to the Scholastic Book Fair and not see like these puzzles,
Yes.
crossword puzzles and things like that. Obviously, this is later, but this is 90s. This is a Star Wars Han Solo. This is a classic.
I thought that was from Force Awakens. I was gonna be like, "What? Are you still going?"
Oh,
John's got kids, you know.
It's funny you say that because I've got a 10-year-old and I'm thinking on his next Scholastic, I'm gonna go roll in there like just straight up with like $100, be like throwing that like dollar bills, just whatever you want.
You gotta you gotta do it for yourself, man. You gotta like this is reclaiming my childhood.
and then you got to drop your book in there somewhere and be like, hey,
That's
buy
right.
this.
That's right.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah.
Old Bones, the Wonder Horse. There was always horse books. By the way, I've always wanted the Black Stallion one.
I was just getting. I had that book. I had never seen the movie. I never saw the movie, but
Dude,
I had that book.
So good. You have got to see the movie. The movie is good.
But I'm saying I had that book, and I just would read that book over and over and over again. There was like a scene with like a snake or something, like he was on the beach, and I knew I did. Like I read the book over and over and over. It was like a picture book
good.
kind of deal.
They had these and they had these like sports books like this. They had the Saddle Club. By the way, I got an offer like a while back on all of my babysitters club, so I sold those to the lady that wanted them. I had
was it Grace?
I know it wasn't Grace. I seriously had like 30 of those books, and but I'm like, what am I going to do? Saddle with babysitters club? I had
they're not just for boys.
Exactly. This one is The Plant That Ate My Socks. Take a look at how well read this one is. Everything's chipping on it.
Yeah, I love that.
Here's another one.
Does the Celery Stalks at Midnight? Did that come? Was that at the Scholastic Book
Celery
Fair?
Stalks at Midnight?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I'm
not sure.
Really,
but I love that title.
One book that I read, no one else.
Yeah,
knows.
no one knows what it is.
You're the only one.
Great.
Was that in the bookmobile?
Me.
Here's the 90s. These are kind of getting really hot out there. People trying to find these Star Trek books, the mass market. This is the TNG. Here's another one. They always had these book novelizations, the movie novelizations,
yes.
Right? This is E.T. There's actually multiple covers of this one. This is one that I just put away. But there's another cover that I had. I couldn't find it. It's in my storage.
What is on that cover? Is that the ship? Is that a shot of the ship or something? I can't.
No,
tell.
it's like it's a shot of the underneath part of the ship. It's like So and then like rays coming through. But the other one has the actual actors on the cover.
Okay.
And then you got like the Civil War. All of these are the Betsy Byers books, Nancy Robinson, Mom, your friend, the pinballs, Playing the Cat. All of this is like wrapped up in here because I like to protect all my books.
Smart.
And then the last one I will just mention is my favorite in my collection, and that's because I love this show when it was out. And this is Jerry O'Connell. By the way, shout out Jerry. I know you follow me on Insta. We connected on there. But this is My Secret Identity, if you guys can see that. And this is the actual story.
My secret identity.
Yeah. And this is the novelization by guess who? Bob Stein.
I was about to say R.L.
What?
Stein.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know, man. And so this was all awesome. And I always really wanted to believe that I could fly if I used 2 spray paint cans. You know? So
you'll appreciate John. Jerry O'Connell and I were at the same voiceover agency when I first got into voice acting. And he came in the office one day with a case of wine, and he was giving out bottles of wine to all the agents. And he walks by me and I go, "Where's mine?" And he goes, and he looks at me, he goes, "I'm so sorry. I only brought some." And I'm like, "I'm just messing with you." He's like, "Oh, Oh, okay. Flash forward to me being at Comic-Con with my wife, and Jerry O'Connell is we're at the HBO Hard Rock Cafe has this HBO floor, and they're like making t-shirts and drinking HBO drinks and whatnot. And Jerry O'Connell's in line with me to make a t-shirt. And Kristen, my wife, she's like, "That's Jerry O'Connell. Let's go get a picture with him." I'm like, "Go ahead, go tell him." She walks up. She's like, "Oh, I'm a big fan of yours." And she's like, "Can I get a picture?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And so I take a picture and I go, "Can I get a picture?" And he looks at me and doesn't remember me from DPN, my agency. And I go, and he goes, "Oh, okay." So if you look at you can find it on my Facebook. If you look at a picture of him with my wife, he's big smile on his face. Me with him, he's kind of like, "What the hell is this guy want a photo with me?" Anyways, nice guy though.
Yeah. No, super nice dude. I was supposed to. I figured I would run into him because I got an invite to go to the Universal Fan Fest nights.
Yes.
And I couldn't make it, but I know he was there. And also, I wanted to meet. I'd never met. One of my favorite people on earth, LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
He was there, and so yeah, it was kind of a missed opportunity, but just the schedule didn't align, and so I couldn't make it. But I'm sure I'll meet Jerry and LeVar sometime in the future.
You will
So.
someday.
Yeah.
I've seen Stand By Me.
You said you haven't seen Stand By Me? Is that what you said?
No, I have. That's my Jerry O'Connell, and I watched Star Trek Lower Decks. Then there's a voice on that.
He's does.
He's also in Scream 2.
I love him in Scream 2.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I love that movie so much.
Yeah,
I actually think Scream 2, I kind of like it more than Scream 1. The soundtrack for Scream 2, by the way, is better than the soundtrack for Scream 1. It's got Collective Soul. It's got, I think Tonic might be on it. Anyways.
Corey does not agree.
No,
Corey doesn't like any of those
90s slashers so much.
Corey, the stank bass. It came
to circle it back to My Secret Identity and your book that you have, we will be covering My Secret Identity on TV Obscura down the road, and we'll have to have you on for that when we do cover it.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
That'd be. Now, John, you mentioned multiple times that you loved those monster books, but you didn't show one off. Do you have any of those old monster books?
Which ones? You mean
like the Bigfoot and the Bigfoots, the Big Feets and the Loch Nessies and everything?
Actually, I don't have one of those, but I do have this. Hang on, give me 1 second.
While he's getting that, I will read the synopsis for Someone is Hiding in Alcatraz Island. When Danny Sullivan saves an old woman from being mugged on a San Francisco street, he doesn't know that the mugger is Priest's brother. Priest is a member of the Outlaws, the toughest gang in Danny's school. Now the Outlaws want revenge. Danny tries to escape by jumping on an excursion boat that's leaving for Alcatraz Island, where the old abandoned prison still stands. But the island doesn't hold safety for Danny. It only holds terror, since the Outlaws follow.
Terror.
Oh no! Alcatraz is gonna open again, so that'll be fun.
Tales of the Crypt.
There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mysterious creatures that may or may not exist, but I assure you they probably don't. But as investigated by Halls, Spears, and Young, and just really cool.
Awesome.
Investigated.
Now, is that one of the books? Was that from the Scholastic Book
No,
Fair?
no, this is not one that I got. This is one that my son, and I actually went through it, and I was like, this is something that obviously this is something that they would have had at the book fair. It looks very similar to that. It has like Bigfoot, it has Loch Ness, it has crazy things like this where there's a guy always like showing a map like that with like
look at these lines I put on here.
Yeah, look at all these lines, these red lines. But yeah, so that's kind of cool. And then here's this guy. Here's Nessie right there.
Yeah.
And they think that it was an elephant in the water potentially.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, these are the kind of books that I ate up when I was a kid, man. And if I'm just happy that at least nowadays they kind of do the same thing. They produce these kind of like weird, novelty style books for the kids, and honestly, I think that for me, I've always been into, because in the 80s we were either going to get abducted by aliens, or nuked. Yeah. So
that was real.
It was.
Yeah. So I've always had this I think because of the fair, because of the Scholastic Book Fair, I always had this like fascination. I wrote a big report in my freshman year in high school about UFOs, unidentified flying objects, and then the Bermuda Triangle. And I remember getting an A on it. And so I've always had a fascination because of these types of books, kind of pulp style stuff that I read.
Yeah.
John, let me ask you a question. Are you familiar with 2XL?
No.
So 2XL was an 8-track player that played music and also played trivia tapes.
40 leading publications love 2XL. He asks the questions, you push buttons to answer.
Giraffes are the only animals that make no sound. True or false?
A uniquely educational toy.
Correct. The next time you hear nothing, a giraffe might be coming.
Plays any 8-track cartridges. Teenagers love him. Adults can't resist him.
2, 4, 6, 8. This is the way we lose weight.
2XL, now 36 tapes for all age groups by Mego.
If you go to the archives of Why Does Zach Own This on Patreon, you can find it on there. I talked to Dustin about it, but he played these trivia tapes, and one of them is called Monsters, Myths, and Legends.
Okay.
And in the 80s, they kind of revamped it and put a cassette deck in there instead of the 8-track to compete with Teddy Ruxpin and other similar vibe, type toys. But 2XL had the Monsters, Myths, and Legends. It talks about the Bermuda Triangle. And 2XL's voice was this guy from New York. He was like, question number 2. And but he was a robot. Anyways, this would be your jam. So if we ever all get together, and I think we will very soon, I will bring it and because I still have it and it works and I got all the tapes and we can play the trivia. Maybe we'll do a live trivia with 2XL and see how well you're versed on the Bermuda Triangle and the Loch Ness Monster.
All right. Sounds good. I'll check it out. I wrote it down.
Cool. Yeah. Can we talk, Corey, do we have time? Diallo, Corey, can we talk about a modern book right now?
You're the one editing this, not me. Go for it, buddy.
Well, so it ties in with the book fair. If the book fair, this was the 80s and we were all at the book fair and we saw this book on the shelves, we might want to grab it and pay for it ourselves instead of having our parents do it. Nostalgia Nation, the definitive chronicle of growing up Gen X. This is your exclusive, folks. This is the first time we've talked about that 80s dude, John Toma's book. He wrote a book, guys. Yeah. It's a real thing. Diallo,
it is real.
Diallo's a writer. He's an amazing writer. Y'all know that already. But John, besides being a huge Instagram influencer and lover of all 80s and a night boy, he wrote a book. It's a real thing. So, John,
it's a real thing.
Can you tell us, to quote Boogie Nights?
It's a thrill. I was just showing this off earlier, which is the coffee table version, hardcover. It's about, I think it's like 8.5 or 9 by 11 or something. But I made this basically, it's just really a love thing. I was just going to do paperback and ebook and working on an audiobook. But I wanted to have something that everybody could have really value, put it on the table or something. This one's a full color premium. Here's a very rare image of the Perfect Strangers pin. These are a lot of these things are from my collection.
Okay.
And so I put them in here. So
does it go in chronological order, or is it by themes or chapters by themes?
No. So there's a lot of those magazines in there are my magazines, and so I'll tell you right now. I'll kind of give you a quick shot of the contents. So basically the contents are, who is Gen X? The foreword's written by Lisa Downs, by the way. I need to give her a shout out. The foreword's written. This one doesn't show that. So this is a pre-release cover, but the actual cover will have a foreword by Lisa Downs. She does the Life After the Goonies, Life After the Navigator, Life After the Flash, all those movies.
Coming soon to Tales from the Video Store down the road.
She's awesome. She's so awesome. And so growing up in the 80s, what it was really like, Get Back Home Before Dark, the soundtrack of our youth. I talk about music and different periods between the 80s and 90s, hip hop, grunge, and fashion. Dial-up days, which is the internet, early internet, arcade experience, the games that made us, toys we grew up with, VHS experience, my time in Hollywood video, what it was like growing up in Detroit as a first-generation immigrant trying to just stay afloat. I was watching TV all the time, assimilating, the golden age of sports. And I talk about the sights, sounds, and feels. I have this really essay I'm proud of. It's in here. It's called "Rest in Peace: Saturday Morning Nostalgia," which I think will hit on everybody's kind of like emotional chords.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a mild memoir. At the same time, it's something that all of us have experienced, and everyone reading this as Gen X or millennial or even my son, who's he was born in 2008, my oldest. He was like, "Dad, I see this stuff in your room. I love it. I wish we grew up with some of these things." And I go, "Yeah, I wish you did too." But anyway, I thank you for mentioning it. I really appreciate it. I'm super pumped about it. It was a dream come true. I've always wanted to be an author, and here it is. June 3rd is when the book officially drops, but the ebook is available for pre-order now.
And where can people go and get that?
So there are quite a few ISBNs right now. So the ones that you're seeing here, the hardcover is on Amazon. The paperback you have, Zach, is on Amazon. There's going to be a dust jacket edition that's going to be printed through, I believe, Barnes and Noble.
Great.
And so, but I would say the safest bet, go to Amazon. It's going to be on Amazon. Yeah, they can go to Kindle. It's available on Kindle right now on Amazon.
Now, John, let me ask you something. My nephew, he's almost 10. And we watch him all the time, and I'm always trying to introduce him to different things and, 80s movies and 80s video games, and he's loving all that stuff. And I got to say, I got action figures all over my apartment. I got a lot of them hidden in between my wife's plants and everything. And when my nephew looks around, his eyes register nothing for the action figures. It's remarkable. Do your kids even care about action figures at all these days?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So my kids, I started buying them the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line early on, because I felt like that was going to be, because there's the films, there was the cartoons, and I felt like they were gonna if they were going to even like action figures, because I knew technology was going to be competing against toys, right? And I knew that if I started them out early, this was something that was going to be something that they enjoyed, and they were actually, in fact, going to play with toys. So I got a ton of Hot Wheel cars, Micro Machines. I had some beat up Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, GI Joes. I just threw them out to them, and whatever that they latched onto, I was like, okay, I'm going to go get more of that.
You pushed that further.
I pushed that. Yeah. Now that they've gotten a little bit older, they're definitely, like, they were in here earlier before I set up and I moved my seat here, but they were here, and I'll kind of take you for a second. But basically what I do is I set up these these little chairs for them on the floor here, and they're playing the NES. They're playing Super Mario here, and then my older ones play the Super NES on this TV.
Amazing.
So you can see it's all set up here, and they play like Metroid and Mega Man, and they're into that. So at least technology wise, I don't introduce them to any like Xbox or modern gaming systems. I've always let them play either the Sega Genesis on the 90s television there, or they're playing the NES original on this 80s television, or they play the Super NES here on the or the the Nintendo 64 down here, and the GameCube. The GameCube there. So yeah, I feel you, man. It's like tough. I put mask, but I will say I put mask on the other day on Tubi, and I've got one of these shag carpets here on the floor. Sorry. And I put Tubi on the other day, and I wanted my kid, my 5-year-old, to watch Mask with me because it's on Tubi. And I was like singing the theme song, Mask, right?
Best theme song ever.
I love
Agreed.
it. I love it.
Yep.
But he was like, I want to watch Bat Wheels. So I'm like, all right, I like you less now. But I'm kidding. But the thing is like, at least they're still watching cartoons, man. Like, that's the thing,
And so here in my office, every time he comes over, and we've been living up here for 6 years. So he's been coming over for 6 years, ever since he was like 4 years old or so. And I have that arcade 1-up Star Wars machine that has Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi on it, and
Love
it's
it.
got those vector graphics and everything. And I got my high score on like everything, you know. And he always, every time he comes over, the first thing he's like, "Can I, yeah, can I play that? Can I work on that?" You know, I'm like, "Sure, of course." He finally, this last time that he came over, he figured out like a way to get some mega points that I never even knew in Empire Strikes Back, and he started bopping me down the list and everything. And I'm talking like, my highest was like 400, million. He got like almost 600 million. So like he bumped me so hard.
Wow.
But he turned and looked at me when he did it, and I was flabbergasted. He turned and looked at me, goes, "It's all in the wrists." And I go, "Did you just quote Tron?" He goes, "Yep." I'm like, my heart, it almost exploded, because I also introduced him to Tron too. So he loves this. He loves the vector graphics, and and it's the only, he's also a big gamer, but it's the only game that's like, there's no progression. It's only for high scores. And it's interesting to see him be addicted to this one game for like 5 years straight. And I'm like, and I told him, I was like, I mean, it's about time you beat me, buddy. You've been playing this thing for half your life.
Well,
Yeah,
no, well, that's awesome. Well, my son, my 7-year-old, he's been addicted to Metroid, and he watches other people play Metroid on YouTube. Like, the videos.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. Like, initially I was like, what are we watching other people play video games for? But they're actually learning the levels, and like the little cheat codes and all that.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, on the point, Corey, on the toys, I will say this, and I've observed this, and this is why your question or your comment is so important for anyone listening right now. I think I've noticed, and I've made a mental note as to why kids don't necessarily play with toys as much anymore. And a lot of the toys today are meant for adults, right? Because Sideshow makes adult, I got to be careful saying adult toys.
We know what you mean.
Figures. Diallo's got the look.
I got a few adult toys myself.
But basically, I have 4 sons, and 3 of them are very close in age. One thing I will tell you that I think that has probably degraded over time is because young boys don't play with each other as much anymore, like out in the street and things like that, where we used to bring out our G.I. Joes and dig forts and create
the sandbox and everything.
Yeah. And now it's like, what are they going to do playing with an action figure on their own? Back in the day, we would bring out our Joes. Our neighbors would bring out theirs, the Transformers, and we'd have these little mini forts in the dirt built out, and that kind of thing. It's not happening anymore. So I can't necessarily put blame on them that they're like disinterested. It's just they don't have. My sons have their brothers to play with, so that's probably why they play with toys.
Right.
Right. But I feel for the kids that don't have the opportunity, because look, if we think about this, in the next 15, 20 years, potentially, we may not see toys as we see them now on the shelves, like at Target and things like that. Just really sad.
And I know it's like everyone, kind of craps on like, oh, all those cartoons were just to sell the toys. And I'm like, but like the cartoon would be over, and then I could go and actually play with the toys that looked exactly like the cartoon.
Continue
and I
the story.
And I thought there was something beautiful and special about that. Now, all that being said, it's actually kind of nice because I don't have to worry about him messing with any of my toys. So
Yeah. Well, believe me, they always want to. Well, my sons have been conditioned now. They go, "Dad, is this a collectible or is it a toy?"
That's nice. So
right?
They know where to start. Okay, if it's collectible,
exactly.
Don't mess with it.
And if I say it's collectible, you can't touch it. But if I say, "Go ahead, it's a toy,"
that's awesome.
They can grab it. So I always want to leave things within their height to grab in the room, because I feel like I'm not worried about it. That thing I can replace. But if it's like a super rare, figure. They can't touch any of my Thundercats, but all that stuff is up very high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think the kids, I don't have any kids, and I'm not around them a lot, but
me neither.
But I think about growing up. I mean, I played with my toys by myself all the time.
I did too.
And I'm still that way with video games. Like, I don't like it. People like the social aspect, and I'm like, no, sit me in front of an open world game by myself, and I will just sit there for hours on end, just looking in corners of little houses and stuff. But anyways, I think part of why toys just might not be as like synergistic as they were before is because I mean, there's so many other things competing for our time, and like
Yep.
you have to be completely offline to play with action figures and stuff, and and you have my phone, I have
Totally.
TV, or kids have tablets all the time, so that it's like
Right.
easy to get
Yeah.
distracted by that. And those offer like a better experience than playing with action figures and toys, especially if you're not really into like the imagination of things.
Sure.
So yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
but there's no harm, no foul either. It's just like
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
And we had Atari 2600 or the Commodore 64. And,
Right.
I loved, River Raid. I loved the Empire Strikes Back game and everything like that. But I mean, if I had Marvel Rivals or something like that,
Yeah.
that my nephew's playing now, no, I wouldn't be playing with toys. I'd be playing with
Right.
that.
That's,
I
that's
know.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
It's like,
totally. Well,
like
something that Zach just held up. Those are my original Tomax and Zaymont GI Joes that you see in that book.
So yeah, this is the chapter on toys. Yep.
Those were my first GI Joes that I ever got, and I got them at Kmart with my dad, and I had to beg him for those. And I think they were like $1.99, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish you.
But
We have so many episodes that after we recorded, I'm like, maybe we need to do a follow-up on some of these, because we did a whole episode on GI Joe figures and our first ones and how we came to acquire them. And of course, my story has some sort of trauma in it, because mine always does. This one didn't have trauma, by the way. No trauma for Zach in this episode.
That's good.
I'm just gonna say though, y'all, like, if you want a book that is super comprehensive but easy to read, fun to read, and so relatable, then get Nostalgia Nation, because I know I'm plugging the hell out of it, and John is a friend of ours, but it's like flat out, if I wasn't a fan of it, I wouldn't be promoting it. It's a really, 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 really good book, and it's just in a way, like, it makes you want to go seek out these things. Screw eBay, by the way. Like, come on. And I love that. I love that when someone's trying to sell something on eBay, and then you find it for something cheaper, like at a Comic-Con or Power Morphicon, or like, go to a con to buy your toys. Don't go on eBay.
True.
Go to a flea market. Like,
go to a flea market, right?
Something.
Yeah.
But
Totally.
what I love about this is, like, this is a discussion that you can have with all your friends, or that you talk to with your kids, if you got kids, or you talk to with people that are not from that generation. You talk to whatever this new generation is, Generation Y or Z or whatever. Like, sincerely, I was talking to someone the other day at the gym about it. I was like, oh, he's like, oh, you got an 80s movie podcast? I go, yeah. I said, there's a buddy of mine, his name's That 80s Dude on Instagram. He has a book out, and we were talking literally at the gym for like about 10 minutes about fun things. He's like, oh yeah, I watched The Toys That Made Us. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in that, the new
great
Masters of the Universe episode.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's relatable for everybody. Go get Nostalgia Nation. I'll put whatever links we have right now in the notes, and then obviously when it comes out on June,
we'll update the notes.
June 3rd. June 3rd is the official paperback and hardcover will be released, but the Kindle will also is in pre-order now.
Okay, so my birthday month, I'll heavily promote it on my birthday month.
Man, you're the man. Thank you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that very much. I think if you're the type of person who's gonna read this book, is you appreciate physical media, you appreciate the analog days, and there's value in that without obviously missing sight of the present and the great things that we do have in the present. Right. But I think it's my love letter to Gen X, most of all, so
love it.
But thank you.
It'll be our first love letter, because everybody forgets about us.
yeah
Surprise.
for sure.
Hey, where do I pick up adult toys?
Did you say Altoids? I'm going to say, I think you said Altoids.
Oh my.
Well,
hey, I want to tell you guys something real quick before we move on.
Speaking of adult toys, I see your Simon up there in the corner. That is, I used to love that game.
Oh yeah, right up there. Yeah. So, in fact, Zach, what you were saying about the go get your toys at conventions.
Yeah.
I got that from a guy, the Castle Grayskull, from a guy at the San Diego Rocket Con, which I got to do a video on
cool.
here. but I also interviewed this dude. You learn so much at conventions. That's the thing. That's like where you should definitely get your toys and your comics and stuff, right?
Right.
But I was just going to tell you, in the book, I talk about the really the value and the importance of teaching younger generation about vintage audio, right? I posted a video, a quick reel on my Instagram of my son, my 7-year-old, playing Everybody Wants to Rule the World the other day at his recital. And what we do is every week is I have him open up the vinyl player, the recorder, and then he goes through all of my vinyl records, and we get to choose which song he wants to choose for his next recital or listen to it.
Awesome.
But what's important is that they know how to use this stuff, right? I mean,
right.
that's the main thing is they got to understand what it's for and why they use it, and plus my damn shag carpet. And really the importance of the sound, the difference in sound, right? They have to hear that. But I can't tell you, I can't say enough that I think one of the biggest contributions we can make as Gen X to the younger generation, just because I'm a father of 4, I think about this a lot. This is what I kind of reflect on. Is I think the biggest thing is helping them really appreciate and value our history, and not just because of pride, but because there's so many great aspects to our time. And so I really feel like that would be a great contribution to the younger generation.
Amen.
You're doing them a favor too, because in the great AI wars of 2046, they're gonna want to know how to play a vinyl record because they're not gonna be able to get on the internet or stream it. And then they're gonna have to become a mentat and be a living computer. So
everything's computer.
Yeah.
Diallo, what was the name of that book you wanted to get from the book fair with the Circle of Children, or what was it?
What was it called? It was called
The Stone Circles.
I actually found your celery stalks.
Oh, the celery stalks at midnight.
Yeah,
Did you find my wrestling book I was talking about?
So I looked it up. I couldn't find it. It kept finding stuff for.
I gotta look this up. Celery stalks at midnight.
And I think mine is called like Body Smasher. That might be what it's called. Body Smasher, maybe.
I know Brain Smasher with Andrew Dice Clay.
It's not Brain Smasher with Andrew Dice Clay, directed by Albert Pune. Well, we all make mistakes in life.
God, that movie's terrible.
And Terry Hatcher's in that too.
I know. It has the worst soundtrack of all time.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, by Jan Stacy. Yeah, and there's Captain Lou Albano's on the cover.
Oh, you found it? It's called Body Smasher? Okay.
Yeah, by Jan Stacy.
There you go.
I'm going to look that up.
Fanatics plan a nuclear attack on New York's Flushing Meadow Park during the World Wrestling Games, and contestant Rick Harrison is the only man who could prevent it. You should see that this cover is... Wow.
Zach, you got to put that into the...
I will. I'll put a screen. So I know, Corey, I kind of like hijacked you because you're show running this, but I will say as we wrap up, links in all of our show notes to that 80s dude, Diallo. If you're watching this on $2 late fee, there will be links to Podcasting After Dark. And if you're watching this on podcast and vice versa. And if you're listening to this, go watch the video because there's so much to see. You'll get a quick glimpse at Nostalgia Nation, some of the images that you'll see in the book. Go out and get that book. Just, support the people that work at these conventions too. Our buddy Scott Zillner, he runs a convention every single goddamn month. And, he lives and dies by the sword of buying and selling toys. So, and nostalgia, cassettes, everything. So, this has been great. I knew that the discussion was going to go from book fairs into John's book. I didn't know it was going to delve in deeper into the psychology of children nowadays.
That was awesome. Yeah.
But it connects with book fairs for the kids because book fairs are still hot and people still love to do them and kids still look forward to them. And not every school gets to do that. So that is actually a privilege that certain districts get to have. And, thank the gods that Scholastic still puts this stuff out and encourages reading. There's a lot more toys nowadays. If you go to a recent book fair, I'm sure John knows about that too. However,
Wait, hold on. And to all the kids out there who just use the Scholastic Book Fair to get out of class, you know what? I see you. I see you. It's all good. It's okay, because you know what? You'll still turn out okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
You're
You'll
seen
be
by
fine.
Corey, and he'll gladly give you a book from his van. So if you see his van on the street, jump in Corey's van, and he'll give you a ride down to his. He'll let you play arcade games in the back of his shop too.
Hey, listen, if you go just to buy erasers at the book fair, or like with fidgets or whatever it is, do it. Just do it. Go, because
go do it.
It's going to be a memory. You know what I mean?
Right.
So keychains, erasers, pencil grips, just buy them. Support your Scholastic Book Fair.
Right.
That's right. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
And support John Toma, That 80s Dude, by going out and getting Nostalgia Nation. Grace will be gracing us with her presence, hopefully on the next episode. Hopefully we'll get Dustin back soon too. He sends his love to everybody in the 80s world. And any final thoughts, Corey, Diallo, John?
Read a book, I guess.
Reading is fundamental.
There you go.
Reading is fundamental, man. Awesome. So much fun talking about this. This is a core memory, I think, for all of us, for sure.
Yeah.
Get some puffy
whether
stickers.
that's the thing, like whether we loved it or not, it's still a core memory of mine as well. It's still a part of growing up in the 80s. And I'm happy to do this show with you guys. It's a lot of fun. And thank you to our Patreon members who, keep the shows going and everything. So remember, if you want to suggest a topic for us to discuss on 80s Kids Unite, you just have to either sign up to Podcasting After Dark's Patreon or $2 late fees Patreon. But we know we have a lot of people who are doing double duties, and anyone who signs up, you guys rock, and you're really helping keeping the lights on and everything. And it's a fun show, and we have a massive list of more topics to go through. I don't think we'll ever run out of a topic for 80s Kids Unite, but it's always a blast.
No, but coming possibly very soon would be one about 80s movie soundtracks. So
who thought of that?
Some special guy. All right. Well, I guess that's it, right?
Love being on here, guys.
We don't have an outro.
Thank you for inviting me on the show. I absolutely love joining you guys and love being on here. Thank you.
John, you're a night boy. You're an honourary night boy.
No, a day for night person.
Day for night.
I had to put on my my ghost face.
Amazing, and that much to the chagrin of Corey.
Corey's forcing a smile. So between you and Corey's got his hate of 90s horror. I got my hate of GoBots.
I will close us out with this image then, just to make
Zach is inclusive.
Zach wants to make everybody happy.
This is Corey with Scream, and this is Diallo with. Anyways, be nice to everybody. Go read a book, and love y'all. See you next time.
Love y'all. Stay rad.
Bye.
I can go anywhere. Friends to know and ways to grow. A reading rainbow.
80s Kids Unite is brought to you by Hungry Hungry Hippos, the loudest tabletop game in history. And by Nickelback, Zach's favorite band. If you'd like to suggest topics for this show, go to the Patreon of either $2 late fee or Podcasting After Dark, or both. All links are in the show notes. We love you.